Hey guys, Bob here. Welcome back. This is a Co-Travel with Bob Piercy podcast. And today I'm really excited to have on Brandon Mather. He's a director of sales for First Data Canada. Brandon, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, hey, Brandon, we've actually known each other for a while, well over a year, almost 2 years, I guess. And we started kind of dealing with each other in a non-official capacity. But then our two companies came together, kind of formed a partnership or an alliance. And we've been working together that way since. For those people that don't know, what is First Data? Who are you guys? And what are you guys doing in the market these days?
Sure, yeah. So I like to tell people that we are the biggest company that you've never heard of before. So we're a worldwide payment processing company. We have a really large market share in the US, and we're in over 100 countries worldwide. We've had a partnership with Henry Schein in the US for almost a decade, and we kind of got into the same market here in Canada, and that's how that partnership ended up kind of taking shape when we met. So we don't just do dental clinics. We do a lot of other avenues of processing. We process for big companies like Walmart and Home Depot and Best Buy and a lot of other household names, but we have a lot of expertise in your field as well, and that's why I thought it was a great idea to have us on the call.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like you guys are in the credit card, debit card processing. It's funny, before we had this conversation and got to know each other, I almost never looked at the pin pad or the touch pad when I was buying anything. And now every time I look and to swipe my card, that's the first thing I go to is to see the logo either on the device or on the screen as to who's actually processing my credit card. And yeah, and you said you're the largest that does this, and and some numbers you gave me before was the next 10 largest companies that do merchant processing. So basically position 2 to 11, First Data is bigger than all of them combined, correct?
That's right. Yep, that's right.
So even though we haven't heard of you in Canada kind of up until now, and I have seen over the last year and a bit, I have seen more things pop up in restaurants. I've seen things pop up, not taxis, maybe Uber was it? And anyways, so yeah, you guys are definitely making inroads into Canada. Now, we've been partnered, corporately for a while now. Henry Schein's a client of yours, so whenever we charge our clients, our doctors, credit cards, we're using First Data to process that transaction. And basically, the plan was to kind of take our buying power as Henry Schein and take that opportunity and give that savings and discounts down to our customer as well, correct?
That's right. Yep. And leverage some of our other partnerships as well if there are avenues that you guys are using that you can use our buying power on behalf of your customers as well.
Very cool. So really, this isn't a discounted price and a discounted service. This really is a premium company, First Data. And so now you did touch briefly, like what are some other services that you guys offer your clients besides simply merchant processing?
Yeah, sure. So we have specifically in the dental space, what makes sense is we have some partnerships that allow for offloading your patient financing to one of our partners. So the clinics would get paid in full upfront, and they would use one of our partners to provide financing. We noticed that a lot of clinics had liabilities on the books that they were doing it more of a value add to their patients, and we can offload some of that so there's not as much debt on the books. We also have partnerships with companies that can provide discounts in things like insurance, office supplies, things like that. And then in terms of what we do in-house, other than payment processing, we have a platform called Clover, which is really more of a 360 POS, patient management, clinic management service. And it will align with a lot of what clinics are doing now, or maybe they're paying for other services that this can replace for free. So this would be things like scheduling, employee time clock, being able to send payable invoices to patients, card on file for recurring payments, or billing a card that comes back frequently, things like that. So we have a lot of tools and apps built into our product line that is proprietary to us. And other than just savings and payment processing, we're able to offload a lot of other things kind of within our ecosystem, and it makes it a lot easier to keep everything under one roof.
Yeah, and going back to one of the first things you mentioned about the financing, I've heard stories of offices that do large number of ortho cases, whether it's clear aligners or whether it's brackets, and the office actually starts acting as the bank for the client, and so they are basically collecting payments based on visits. But there's a lot of outstanding, especially in a say an Invisalign case where the office is paying for that lab fee up front. They're carrying a lot of debt, and then if the practice is to be evaluated, or say the doctor wants to sell the practice, that bad debt really holds a negative effect on the evaluation, where basically, like you say, using that third party financing to get it off the books, office gets paid up front. That really is a huge benefit for the practice, especially in the time of transition and evaluation. So now I kind of think of merchant processing, and forgive me for just being naive to the whole thing because I'm not running a business myself, but I think it's one of these things that kind of people are going to set and forget. They do it once, and they probably haven't looked at the stuff for years. They get the statements, they just file it, or they just get sent up to the bookkeeper. And then I guess the possibility of changing a system like this is kind of daunting and concerning. Like, is it an easy process? Is it difficult? Like, how do you guys facilitate that and make it beneficial for the dental clinic?
Great question. So first of all, the majority of banks have a processor that they either own or they partner with, and most businesses out there, regardless of size, assume that because their banking relationship is strong or they've been with that bank a long time, that they're getting a competitive rate, that they were offered the best package or the best terms to begin with, and almost all of the time that isn't the case. So what we do first before we even consider switching a merchant is look at what they're paying, make sure that the savings first will allow for the process of switching to be worthwhile. If someone's only going to save a tiny bit of money, maybe it's best that you stay where you are and we just kind of help you navigate renegotiating that cost. And I don't really have a problem saying that to somebody. But if the savings are substantial, and generally they are, what we'll do is we won't get them to hard stop and hard start. So we will help them transition. Maybe there's a month or two of overlap. We'll help them with that, and make sure that they're comfortable with our service and our platform, and our billing, our customer service, all those other things before they cancel with their existing processor. And that way, there's no obligation, there's no kind of bait and switch going on. There's not the opportunity for them to be dissatisfied with that process. So we lay that all out in advance, and we hit their bank account the same way everybody else does. Our reporting, I think, is best in class in the country. We can often automate reporting that most clinics are doing manually. So if they have something really specific they need every day, every week, every month, we can automate that. So it'll send them a spreadsheet once a month. So we try to kind of be a business partner in the sense that what other operational efficiencies can we provide on top of just savings, on top of just patient experience, that kind of thing. So that's something that I take really seriously in the process as well.
No, very cool. And if I remember correctly too, in other conversations, some kind of these bait and switch tactics of other companies, they'll have a very wide range of card options and different rates per different card. And they might quote a business at, look, we got this really low rate on this particular Visa card, but that's a very unpopular, very, not commonly used card. And other cards which are more common would have higher rates, and those things kind of get lost in the confusion.
Yeah. So I've been in this industry now for 12 years, and I've seen a lot of regulation happen and a lot of standardization, but still the means of pricing a merchant and explaining that pricing to a merchant is often still very vague. I have a customer that we just looked at that does almost $1 billion a year in processing and really didn't truly understand what they were paying and why and how and all that kind of thing. So the process of comparing their existing pricing to ours is really important, so we can see first how they're priced. The way that we price is it's our cost, and our cost is the same as every other processor's cost in Canada. So we publicly display that, we show that to the merchant. So it's cost plus a fixed markup on every transaction. And if they're already being priced that way, it's a very easy apples to apples comparison. If they are being priced in a way that is variable, which is also common, we will show them like, here's what you were paying consistently. Here's kind of what your card mix was, and here's what that would translate to us with if you were to switch and use our flat rate pricing. So I think that a lot of processors out there keep their pricing opaque on purpose, just to make it confusing. So we like to make sure that everything is clear and transparent, and it keeps us honest moving forward. Our costs change probably once or twice a year, and they generally don't go up. They're almost always going down. So because we price at cost plus a fixed markup, our customers will see those savings without asking for them. It's just realized cost savings every time our rates decrease.
Wow. Okay. That's something I didn't know or realize. That's very cool.
Yeah. It just happened actually in September of last year was the last one.
So your costs came down, then thus all of your clients got a break in their merchant processing as well.
That's right. And that cost came down for everybody. A lot of other processors just didn't extend that pricing to their customers.
They just pocketed the increase in profit.
Yeah.
No, and
right.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see people doing that as well. I guess one thing I've talked to clients about too, about merchant processing, is the storing and protect of their patients' credit card information. And tell me about that. You guys do it. Are you guys able to transfer that, or how do you, or does that be reacquired if you guys bring on a new client?
So it depends on how it's stored and where. Most other processors will not allow, and we don't allow for card numbers to be exported entirely. Usually when they're entered, they are masked, so you can only see a certain portion of the card information. And we don't allow it to be exported so you can see the card numbers in full. So if they do have a system where they're storing cards securely now, we would have to re-enter those cards, and it's just more of a compliance issue than anything else. But lots of clinics out there have, card numbers scrawled on a Post-it note in a filing cabinet somewhere or something. So
I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure no one out there is doing that. Not in our market. No, that is, I can guarantee you that that's not happening. Like, please, that's not happening.
So we'll show them how to enter the card information, how to set up either secure card storage so you can pull that card up later, or recurring payments if they want to 12 months equal payments, or they want to set up some sort of maintenance plan or something. You can automatically build a card every set amount of time for a set amount.
Okay. And you did say this again earlier, you touched on it, but you did say about like cost savings, and generally there's substantial cost savings. Like obviously dental offices in Alberta vary from producing to less than $1 million to multiple $1 million a year. This is a variable game. So but percentage wise, like, can you give me a dollar figure in terms of like what people can expect to save on their merchant?
It's hard to say. Some processors are a lot more egregious with their pricing than others. So I would say a good estimate is probably $3,000 to $4,000 per million that a merchant is processes in a year. But I've also seen single clinics that we've saved $30,000 for a year. So wow. It really depends who they're with, what the pricing. A lot of clinics are fairly savvy, or they've taken advantage of some other association rate. The savings might be slightly less or whatever, but just really depends on who they're with, how long they've been with them, if they've been reviewing their rates, that kind of thing.
And again, you keep teeing me up here with these great questions to ask you. I hope they're great questions. But you just talked about other associations. So we do know like the ADA&C partnered with Moneris, is it?
Moneris, yep.
And again, they're one of the more popular merchant companies that I see out there. Just again, this is my own take on the market.
Yeah, they're the largest by a fair margin in Canada. So they're a joint venture between BMO and RBC. So any RBC or BMO banking customer basically gets a Moneris terminal on the way out the door and assumes that the rates are aggressive or comparable to what they should be paying for a business in that category kind of thing. So Moneris probably has a 40-ish% market share in Canada.
Okay. All right. So my market research was accurate. Now with this partnership between ADA&C and Moneris versus say our partnership with you, how do they compare, pros, cons? Just because I have heard people talk about thinking that the ADA and C program was going to be a better program?
Right. So the original offer that went out with our Shine partnership was incredibly aggressive. And in my opinion, the ADA offer was put out to combat that rate because it was so much more aggressive than what Moneris was offering previously. So we had to go back and really reduce the rate to lower than what the ADA offer was. But on top of that, the ADA has a setup fee. They've got some other monthly fees that we don't have. Their terminal rental fees are higher than what we have and they're not a smart terminal like our Clover platform. So overall, it's still a better price. And over and above that, our mandate is we guarantee that we can provide cost savings to you, or we'll save you we'll pay you $1,000 for your time. So it's kind of a call to action just to get statement analysis done and kind of let everybody know where they're at. And we'll let the clinics and the market decide which direction they want to go. But I haven't had anybody who I've been up against with that ADA offer that hasn't moved forward with us and has gone with that instead. So probably saying something.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, an office hears this conversation, either watches a video, listens to the podcast. I want to take advantage of this. What's the process? How do we go from initial introduction to implementation?
Sure. So reach out to your Shine rep, kind of get some direction on what you're thinking, and they can get in contact with me, or you can go directly through the Shine rep and stay anonymous if you prefer. I deal with lots of redacted statements where the clinic name is crossed out, any information that's sensitive is crossed out, and we're just doing a cost comparison. And the Shine rep will act kind of as an intermediary. And that way, they're not getting phone calls from me or from our company or anything like that until they're ready. So that's generally the route I say is go through your Shine rep, get a statement sent off to us. We'll provide a cost savings within usually 1 business day, and kind of what the next steps look like. And then we can answer any other questions that you might have as well.
And your guarantee was, if you guys can't lower the cost of merchant services, you're going to provide that clinic, that doctor, $1,000 Visa gift card.
Visa gift card. That's right. Yep. We've never had to issue one, so prove me wrong, I guess. But yeah, it's a call to action just to make sure that we're not wasting anybody's time. And there's some skin in the game for everybody, just to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward too.
Well, I like this, and I've liked it for a long time. And one of the reasons why I do like it too is especially when I meet a new client or new prospective client, a new office, this is one of the first things I mention, because, and I say to the doctor, I say, look, like, here's the way for me to save you money, impact your business in a positive way. I'm making nothing from it. Basically, this is just a relationship between Henry Schein and First Data, and we're introducing you guys. And look, worst case scenario, you're going to get a $1,000 Visa gift card. Best case scenario, you're going to save some money on your practice, and like you say, $2 to $3 million, $2,000 to $3,000 per million of production. And again, it's a great way, I think, to kind of get the ball rolling with, again, obviously our current clients, but also any prospective and future clients too. So very cool. And I guess there has been some rebranding. So we are going to get into like email addresses and websites here in a bit. But what is the global name of the company is?
So our parent company is Fiserv. We were purchased last year. They bought our worldwide operation, but we still operate in Canada as First Data. And then our kind of proprietary platform that everything sits on top of is called Clover. And we've had it in Canada for about 1.5 years or so. And we've had it in the US for maybe 4 years or 5 years. So what it is it's a smart terminal that has a bunch of apps on there. So it can do, employee management, customer management. It can do, send your receipt by text message or email when the transaction is done. But over and above just the payment terminal side of things, there's a web backend that ties into the terminal. So anything that you do on the terminal and everything that you do on the web dashboard, they feed back and forth. So you make a change here, it'll show up here, and vice versa. So a lot of clinics love to use the web dashboard. They can take a payment through the virtual terminal on there. They can access receipts and reporting and all that kind of stuff. They can modify their receipt if they want to put logos and business hours and social media information on there. You can send an invoice, so you can send an itemized invoice to your patient. They can click a link in their email and enter their own card information if they wish. And then there's a bunch of apps on top of there that connect Clover to other platforms. So if you want to link Clover to your accounting software, chances are there's an app inside the Clover platform that'll allow you to do that. Like I said, if you want to use the Clover platform as your employee scheduler and time clock, they punch in on the Clover when they come in. That's all built in as well. All kinds of things. So it really depends on what you're comfortable with. If you wanted to just take payments, it does that. You can kind of add or not add features as you go.
And to add these features, is there added cost, or is this considered under the same rate?
It depends. So all the apps from Clover, for the most part, are free or very low cost. And then all the third-party apps will have generally some sort of subscription attached to it. It really depends on what you need it for, how many clinics you have, things like that. So there's not going to be any surprises. It'll tell you right when you're looking at the apps if there's a cost attached to it or not. And most of them will have some sort of trial, so you can see if you like it first or not.
Okay. And I guarantee people listening and watching this, you've probably seen these Clover devices and just not realized it. And if you've been at a restaurant back when restaurants were open, or if you're...
Let me grab one. I got one right here. Hold on.
Okay, cool. But yeah, they're basically they're sleek, they're white, they're pretty sexy in regards to a merchant processing device, and much more aesthetically pleasing than just like the regular punch cards you see with Monera. So yeah, absolutely.
So this is the Clover Flex. This is our wireless portable version.
Yep.
This has things like a fingerprint reader in there that will log whoever's doing that transaction into the terminal, and you can gate off features, functions by employee or employee type. So if there's only certain people that you want doing refunds or viewing reporting or anything like that, they can either use a PIN number to log into the machine or their fingerprint. And these machines will connect with Wi-Fi or cellular. There's a SIM card built in as well. And then this, a little clunkier to lift up this way, but this is the countertop model. So it comes with a swiveling base, and it's the same terminal. It just requires power, and it sits on top of your countertop. And it can hardwire into Ethernet. So if it's somewhere where there's poor cellular or Wi-Fi connection, you can hardwire this in as well.
Okay, so just for people that are listening and don't have the audio, I'll include links and all the social, so you guys can go and take a look at these two different devices online after the fact. But yeah, no, again, I think this has just been a great offering. I think it's a great opportunity for offices. I think it's fairly easy to get into. Like you say, provide a 1 month statement, and if you guys want to redact all the information, so it's anonymous, you can do that. Brandon will come back with a proposal based on that. Again, if Brandon can't save you money, you're going to get $1,000 gift card. So, hey, take the team out for lunch or back when we can, or bring lunch in when you can. And then again, moving forward, I think, am I being fair in saying like the only difficult thing is if you have credit cards stored with a different provider, there is a bump of transition to like get the credit cards back entered into. Is that like the real main issue that people are going to have transitioning?
I haven't had anybody where that's been a concern with.
Okay.
So either they aren't storing enough cards that's a big task for them, or the savings or the difference in equipment makes that process worthwhile for them. The only time I've run into any concerns whatsoever is if they have a terminal that is hard integrated into their clinic management software. So sometimes they'll have like a physical pin pad wired into a machine that's linked up and synced up with their patient management software. We don't have a solution for that in place right now, but we do. The reporting generally will automatically feed in if you like, or you can import it, and that's good enough for most practices. But the odd time that I've seen that, that's the only thing that's kept us from moving forward. Other than maybe the savings isn't enough to convince somebody to switch. Okay.
All right. Hey, Brandon, we're just kind of around the 20-minute mark, just a little bit over. Anything we haven't discussed that you kind of want to share that the viewers and the listeners kind of need to know before they move forward?
I I don't think so. We've covered most of the things that I would normally talk about to a potential clinic. The other thing is that the Clover platform is changing all the time. So we are constantly getting new features, new upgrades. And I don't expect that to be any different. There's a third terminal type coming in the new year here, or we're in the new year, I guess. So sometime in the first quarter. And it looks like an iMac. It's like maybe a 15-inch screen on a pedestal. And it will just allow a bigger working surface for some of those apps if they want to run their entire clinic off of something like that. That's an option as well. And I think that's pretty much it. A lot of the accessories and paper and everything that a clinic already has will work with this as well. And we do all the work in terms of making sure that it's set up with their bank, that the deposits flow in correctly. I'll help get the terminals set up, get their staff trained. We have a team that'll make sure that everybody's comfortable using it before they go live. And then if there's any kind of after sale stuff, so if it's customized reporting, tweaking things, I can access customers' Clover portals myself. So if they need to get a hold of me after the fact to change something, I can do it remotely. And then in terms of these terminals, we guarantee 4-hour turnaround time for replacement machines. So if a clinic has an issue with a machine, there's a button on the Clover terminal that says call me, where you press it, you enter a phone number that you want somebody to give you a shout back, and there's kind of a drop down box of reasons why you need help with something. So maybe it's, I can't remember where something is, or my terminal's not working properly. If it's just a matter of trying to remember where in the software something is, your first couple times using it or something, the Clover support can log in remotely and you can see them moving around and adjusting things for you. If it's my terminal's not working properly, they will send a technician to you, provided they can't fix the issue with troubleshooting over the phone. They'll send you a new terminal, and the new terminal that arrives has all of your settings and employees and everything else on it when it arrives. So all the settings and changes that you make are stored on our end in the cloud, and the new terminal that arrives will mirror all of that already. So there's no setup needed.
So really, again, going back to what we said earlier, this is not a discount service and a discount product. This really is a premium product. And again, for people that didn't watch this video but are listening to it, take a look online at the Clover terminal, the desktop one, and again the future one. They're all touchscreen, so there's no fixed buttons. So again, like you say, you're developing this thing. They really are future proof, because if you guys can always just program a new button if you guys need a new feature, a new tool. So it really is a future proof device. Anyways, I think this is great. I think this is a no-brainer for any clinic to at least take a look at, because again, hey, what's the worst case is you're going to get $1,000 Visa gift card. And yeah, let's see if Brandon can't write one of those checks. That'd be kind of the challenges out there. But anyways, Brandon, real quick, what's people can get a hold of you? What way? So email, website, what's that information? And then I'll also include that in the email and the body and the show notes. But where can people find you?
Sure. So my email address is Brandon, my first name, BRANDON, dot my last name, Mather, MATHER, at Fiserv.com, and Fiserv is FISERV. Or you can give me a shout or send me a text message if you like to 780-399-3181. And then if you go to firstdata.com, it'll direct you to the Canada landing page, and you'll see Clover front and center right on there. So any of that works.
Perfect. All right. Well, hey, it's Friday. Let's get off the call, and you go enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk soon. Everyone watching and listening, thanks so much. Any questions, comments, please reach out to me. Again, I'll include Brandon's information in the show notes and also in the email I send. Also, we have some Henry Schein and First Data marketing material I'll make available as well for either viewing and downloading. And anyways, hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much. Brandon, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
My pleasure. Thanks, Bob.
Okay.
Bye-bye.